talking today about the Nike SFB, or Special Forces boot. This is a high performance boot made by Nike. Right off the bat, this is an extremely light boot. As soon as you pick it up, it feels completely unlike any other tactical footwear or desert boots you might have seen before. And it's for a couple reasons. First, I usually start at the top of the boot, but today we're going to start at the bottom. Nike built this boot on a variation of its Nike Free running sole. If you're not familiar, Nike Free is a line of Nike shoes that are meant to mimic being barefoot, or getting as close to barefoot as you can with shoes. So what they did is they created a proprietary sole technology that incorporates strategic cuts along the articulation points of the foot to make a very flexible footbed that flexes naturally underneath the foot, so it's closer to being barefoot. Well, they've taken that technology and they've placed it into this boot. Now, on top of that sole, they've gone ahead and they've put a very minimalist, super light upper. You can see there's really nothing to it, not much material at all. And the result is that this boot weighs, in a size 9, 15.9 ounces. That's 2/3 the weight of a normal boot. So that's an absolutely outstanding accomplishment. On your foot, it feels more like a tennis shoe, like a running shoe, than a military boot. So very, very light. Because of the minimalist material, it's very cool. It's quick drying. It has 2 vents here that can shed water from inside the boot. There's really not enough material to get soaking wet. There's no insulation whatsoever, or padding whatsoever. It's very thin, but surprisingly really comfortable. For this little material, it's very, very comfortable. The entire boot flexes with you, and there's really no break-in. Out of the box, they're comfortable. I was very, very impressed with this. It's so light and so comfortable that you can easily run in this. It doesn't feel much different than running in normal running shoes. Now, what's the downside of this? The lack of structure in this boot means you're going to have pretty strong feet and pretty strong ankles. Unlike a traditional desert boot or tactical boot, it doesn't give you a lot of that ankle support. If you have weak ankles, you're probably going to end up rolling them. So you're going to need to build up to this boot. But if you have strong feet, strong ankles, and you're ready for it, this is an outstanding boot for you. Just a couple notes, and these are things that we've been hearing over and over again. The first is that if you dry this boot too quickly, so you put it next to a heat source, it can actually shrink a little bit on you. So be aware of that. The second is that the primary fail point on this boot is the eyelets. Now, the eyelet started to go, and you can see it right here. It's starting to peel back on my boot. I've only had this for maybe 6 months, and I haven't been wearing it for the entire 6 months, just off and on. I noticed it, and now we've started to hear it from other users. So just be aware of that. If this boot's going to fail, it's probably going to be in the eyelets first. In summary, this boot is basically the closest thing you're going to get to a running shoe in a combat boot. Extremely light. It's the first thing that hits you when you take it out of the box. Very little break-in time. It's a fantastic choice for garrison or field. Caveat that, I don't know if this would be my choice for the mountains of Afghanistan, where you probably want a little bit more heel support, a little bit more ankle support and a beefier sole, but a fantastic boot.